Hello everyone, and we are following our series of live interviews today, this time with Mamadou Toure, the founder and CEO of Ubuntu Group, and he's kindly agreed to tell us about what's going on their side in the blockchain development and what they are to share with us in Basel on the 23rd, 24th at the Blockchain Leadership Summit. Hello Mamadou, how are you doing there?
Hello, hi, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Nice to see you. Eventually you have made it to us. So I'm ready with a whole bunch of questions there. Well, apparently some of those will go to the summit, but so far I would just like you to introduce us to what actually Ubuntu is doing now and what is the scope of work with the blockchain implementation.
Yeah, so Ubuntu is a diversified group, mostly a financial group. What we're looking at in the blockchain space, we're launching Ubuntu Coin. That's going to be a gold-backed coin, cryptocurrency, digital currency, predominantly aimed at Africa and its diaspora, permitting actually transactions, also access to financial services for the unbanked or underbanked, and facilitated transactions in Africa.
So that's about the financial inclusion that can be provided with the distributed ledgers.
Exactly. Blockchain offers a significant amount of possibilities in terms of trustworthiness, traceability of transactions, and also, as you know, Africa was one of the global leaders when it came to mobile banking and mobile payments, and I believe that if we now put it on the blockchain, for international transactions and also for retailers and people to access, goods and products and services and funds, that could help again Africa leapfrog.
I have been recently in contact with one project based in Africa, and they are developing a blockchain solution for cross-border transactions. And actually, as far as I can see right now, the financial market of Africa is highly focused on the blockchain implementation. Now, what countries out of Africa do you see? I'm sorry, you're out of the camera. Yeah, now you're back. Yeah, so out of all the African states, which are the ones ahead of the development? Which are, let's say, the most interesting for investors or international investors?
I would say, Uganda is clearly one country that is pushing the agenda and taking a very proactive approach. South Africa also, with the central bank, is now using component of the blockchain. Nigeria also, has quite a few exchanges. You see a lot of, transaction with Bitcoins, etc. I think Zimbabwe is also catching up, although there's a few regulatory hiccups. But all in all, I think those three countries could be considered as leading the march when it comes to blockchain, and Kenya following very closely.
And are they also welcoming foreign investors to join in?
Of course, I guess the numbers and the potential is so big that foreign investment is more than needed to be able to tackle the market needs and provide the necessary amount of investments to provide the right services for people.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of collaboration are you expecting to obtain at the summit in Basel?
I think the first thing is from a communication point of view, right? So is for participants to know that Africa is open for business when it comes to the blockchain industry. That Africa also has a solid history in being thought leader or first comer when it comes to the payment industry, and of course, reach out to investors who are interested in that space or potential partners who are looking at expanding their activity on the African continents.
who is, do you believe, your target audience at the summit? I mean, out of the audience, are you looking for sharing some insights with developers or with fintech or with the general crowd about just bringing the blockchain mass adoption closer?
I think, first of all, the one thing is partnership. What blockchain offers is this possibility to combine services and products to offer the ultimate quality of products to people. The second element is, of course, communicate and engage on, greater awareness on the potential that Africa has to offer when it comes to, blockchain technology. And third, potential investors looking at getting into those markets and wanting to work with the right kind of partners who know the industry and the key players and has enough influence to expand products and also investments into the region.
Well, I have, as far as I can see now in my network, and I do have quite a bunch of people interested in projects that support financial inclusion and transaction processing. So can they expect Ubuntu Group to be the accelerator for them to have some global international bridges between, let's say, Europe and Africa?
Definitely. We've already started actually working with some key partners, who are based in Europe or in the US. And also we're working very closely with some key players in the industry in Africa to build those necessary ecosystem. As you know, blockchain won't develop on its own. You need to have the right players, the right components within the value chain, and you need the right ecosystem for the industry to grow. Some of the partners that we work with already have some putting together some blockchain academies. Others are looking at exchanges, and of course, the whole engagement with regulators is critical for greater awareness and quicker adoption of that technology. Because of course, there's some conservatism around it, and advocacy is also pretty key. And I'm sure international players would want to be willing to engage with people who have the right kind of access and the experience in the industry, of course, right? And the fact that we're launching, a rollback coin, is also a way for us to show that we've understood the market. As you know, Africa, is generally perceived as a continent that is poor or not as wealthy as the others, but at the same time, it's rich in natural resources. So the whole point of setting up a gold-backed digital currency is to leverage on the wealth and to connect the underground or tangible wealth to effective wealth, right? So, we work with the best in the industry. We expanding, and of course, to make that happen, it requires other key elements that some key players have already developed elsewhere, and by combining all those elements, we'll be able to serve the market in a better way, bearing in mind that the potential is quite tremendous. As you know, 70 to 75% of African population is underbanked or unbanked. So it means that the traditional banking system failed to address the needs of the market, and therefore coming with the right solutions and brainstorm with the people, the right competency, technical skills, and market knowledge should definitely help tackle that problem and find the right solutions for the people on the continent.
Well, that actually sounds perfectly interesting and great and involving. Just the things you mentioned, that you have academia and educational programs, which is definitely one of the big scopes of interest of our summit and of my personal. And yes, we do have also a whole lot of experts dedicating a lot of effort on developing systems for financial inclusion, because it's not only Africa that lacks banking services for major parts of the population. Actually, around the globe, it is probably up to like half the population of our globe is still unbanked or not reaching the quality banking services So that's definitely a great point of interest for everyone. Now, we also have one question from the audience right now. Could you please name one top blockchain startup in Africa to follow closely?
Yes, I mean, you have a few. I don't know if you've heard of Walla, that has started and is doing quite well. There, there's also, I don't know if you've heard of Cubitex, who's also putting their own exchange in the platform. So yeah, you do have some good players, and they're actually growing quite fast. You have BitPesa also in Kenya that is working quite well. Linking Bitcoin to effective cash and to money. So yes, you do have a nascent industry, but that has the potential to rise very fast.
Mm-hmm. And also, do you see now, like anywhere, like in one of the states or across the entire continent, do you see a trend of more IT developers to join blockchain learning and development?
Yes, you do have a few blockchain academies. You have a couple of them in Cape Town. You also have one in Uganda that is developing. And it's a very unique opportunity for the African continent, because I believe globally at this point, you might have only 10,000 blockchain developers, right? Possibly a bit more, but it's a very unique opportunity for the continent to catch up, right? Because at this point, the market is far from being saturated. It's an industry that has a lot of potential for the continent, and for which developers won't have too much of a delay to effectively catch up. Yeah.
Well, so I hope there at the summit. By the way, I have to tell you that we will actually continue this dialogue here. I mean, at the summit, because today I found out that I have the privilege of joining the panel discussion of the blockchain social impact with you and the other speakers as a moderator. So we will be able to catch up from there.
Excellent.
Great. So I hope we will have some brilliant networking, and we will have some great opportunities to build more bridges, because we are now in Switzerland. We are aiming not just the current grounds, but we would like to show that the blockchain implementation has to become global, and we will definitely appreciate all the assistance we can find on all the continents.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Okay. So thank you very much. You found some time for this interview. I still remind everyone that we are going to be there speaking with all of our attendants and the CEO and founder of Ubuntu Capital, Mamadou, at the summit 23rd, 24th of November this weekend.
Great. Looking forward to seeing you all.
Okay. Have a good one. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.